Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Gabby if you don't already know me, and I love to talk all things personal finance, organization, and lifestyle on this channel. And we love to do monthly reset videos on this channel. In for another one, it's about to be May.
It's gonna be May.
It has to happen every single year. So I will be splitting up, as I did for March, I will be splitting up my reset videos into just like a monthly reset and then a monthly money reset. And that is because I want to do a couple of additional things that I don't normally do in my regular reset. So I think just for the sake of not having like an hour and a half long video, today's video is gonna be a money reset video. We are gonna be resetting our finances for the month of May. And May is a crazy month. I have a lot of things going on in May. Things are about to get really crazy. So I'm glad we kinda had a low spend month beforehand. I think April was like a kind of low spend month. If you've been following me for the last couple of budgeting videos, you know that I do money challenges every single month. I like to set a new challenge for my money so that I have a goal to aim for. And April's money challenge was to spend less than $17.50 on my expenses. That is basically like not my bills, not the things that I'm like required to pay, things like groceries, shopping, all that is my expenses. So I wanted to keep that number below $17.50. And for me, that is considered low spending. Obviously, that's not going to be low spending for every single person, but for me and my regular spending, that is a low spend month. But I did allow myself some removals from that value. So we are planning a Europe trip and we were supposed to buy our flights in like February or something. We kept on putting it off because we had a few things we had to figure out with our own work before we could book the trip. So we ended up buying our flights in April instead of February, March. And so I didn't want that to affect my ability to check off this goal. So I will be removing my flights off of the value, and I also will be removing my microneedling. I got microneedling done, and when I went the first time, they recommended for my situation, like the scarring that I have, that I should do 3 sessions. So I ended up paying for my last 2 sessions in April, so I ended up taking that out of the $17.50 as well. Obviously, if I had to pay for $550 worth of stuff, then my $17.50 is automatically like $1,200. And that is just like something I could not achieve. I would not be able to spend less than $1,200 in a month. I mean, I'm sure I could if I absolutely needed to, but I don't think I do. Like, I save a lot, I invest a lot. I don't see a need to be spending that low. So those were the things that I was removing from the $17.50, and we will check in on the status of whether or not I achieved that shortly here. I think May will be an exciting month to budget for. We got a lot to cover, so I think we should just dive right in. Let's pull it up. Let's have a look here. If you are new here, I have a budget spreadsheet I sell on Etsy. If you are interested in the spreadsheet, the link is in my description box. There is also a code specific for YouTube viewers. You get 50% off. Okay, let's have a look at the overall numbers for April. So total income was $14,000. If you watched my mid-month check-in, you know that I got my tax return, and that is why this number is so high. My expenses and bills were around $4,000, and this is definitely inflated from a couple items like the microneedling and the flights. And then I have my savings and investments was $10,300. So most of, or actually all of my tax return went straight to savings and investments. So that's why that number is so high. And then my credit card payments were $3,000. And that is what I owed from my March spending. Let's have a look at the charts. So 50-30-20 split is obviously going to be quite skewed from my tax return being savings and investments entirely. So I am currently at 71% savings and investment rate, 12% want, and 15% needs, which, I mean, you can't complain about that. That is a great little split there. I'm not mad at all. Our budget split, yeah, most of my money went to my investments, which is always a good thing to see. Most of that went to my retirement, you can see here at 72%. And then our expense split. So most of my money was spent on groceries and beauty. So beauty would be the microneedling, of course. It was the Sephora savings event, so that's a little bit inflated from that as well. But yeah, so most of my money was actually groceries. I actually spent a lot on groceries. We will cover that. I'm not entirely sure why, but a lot of money was spent on groceries. And so currently I have about $825 sitting in my checking account. I have about $800 that is owed on my Amex, about $1,400 that is owed on my RBC card, and then about $540 that is owed on my MasterCard. Actually, I think I just looked at the statement statement balance for my MasterCard, and it's actually only about $300. A lot of the charges on my Neo MasterCard were made after the statement balance date. So I don't actually owe all of this immediately next month. And so you can see I don't have enough money in my checking account right now to pay off my credit card bills, but they're not actually due until about the 15th, 16th, 17th of the month. So I have a full paycheck at the beginning of May to help me cover all of my credit card bills. So our expected budgeted amount was supposed to be negative $13.42. That high of amount of negative is simply because I've been slowly eating away. I was a month ahead for a while and I've been slowly eating it into that. This just means basically that like that first pay of the next new month is used to pay off my credit cards versus the last pay of the month that I'm currently in being used to pay off those credit cards. But you can see here, we're actually only at negative $851. So we're actually not as bad as I budgeted for. So that is always great to see. My income is quite a bit higher than expected, about $14,000 when I only budgeted for about $13,000. My bills were exactly as expected, which is great. We love bills just being steady. Savings is exactly as expected. Basically what I ended up doing in my April mid-month check-in, I wanted to change my savings ratio that I usually dump into different accounts. I ended up just changing the amounts that go into each saving bucket. So now $200 every single paycheck goes into my laptop fund. And that is because I have a new savings goal of saving up for a laptop. I want to buy it around end of June. And I did the math of how much I need to be divvying up my savings into. So it's about $200 I need to save every single paycheck for that laptop. And I also gave myself $300 from my tax return to dump into that account as well. I also let myself dump $1,500 into my Italy fund investment. I wanted to do the tax refund amount and subtract off the $1,500 for my Italy trip and then subtract off the $300 for my laptop. And then whatever was left over is the amount I was going to dump into my retirement account. If you are new here, my investment strategy, I am Canadian, so I invest in the TFSA, the RRSP, and the FHSA. What I'm doing is every single year I'm trying to max out my TFSA first and my FHSA as well. And then whatever extra amount I have to invest, I will dump into my retirement account. If you are starting out investing, you're probably better off investing in your TFSA versus your RRSP. And of course, we had a big bill at the beginning of the month. I spent quite a bit in March, so my credit cards were at $3,000. That is predominantly why initially when I did my budget, I was going to be negative. It's just I had a really fat credit card bill. But what I did at the beginning of the month was just waited to get paid. I ended up trying to figure out exactly how much money I needed to pay off my cards to take out from my sinking funds. So if you watched my March video, my budgeting video, I had a few things that I did that I would typically take money out of my sinking funds for to cover those things. But because I have some new income coming in from Etsy and I don't budget for that income, I just wait and see exactly how much money I need to cover my bills. And then I just take that money out of my sinking funds, however much I need. So it was only $75, so it wasn't that big of an amount. And so I paid myself that at the beginning of the month, and then I paid off all of my cards, and now we are all good, and I will do that again for next month. That's basically my system, my process, just because I don't want to be taking extra out of the savings accounts more than I need. Okay, let's dive into the expenses. Let's dive right in. So you can see these little numbers down here. This is basically deducting off the things I talked about. So I took off the $500 and something that I paid for the microneedling. I took off the flight travel, and I also had to pay $100 extra to an Airbnb situation for my friend's 30th. And what else did I deduct off? I bought a mascara for my friend during the VIB sale. Obviously she e-transferred me for that, so I took that off as well. I got a credit on my credit card for shopping the Sephora event. I got about 20 bucks cash back, so I took that off as well. So this number here is the reflected amount that I'm trying to keep under $1,750. You can see though that I actually ended up spending $2,600, so my actual spending was quite a bit higher, but as I mentioned, I have sinking funds for those other items. Let's dive in to the totals. So $375 budgeted for groceries, $595 spent on groceries, $600. So I actually was doing really good until close to the end of the month for this. And then we needed a lot of stuff from Costco. We needed to like re-buy a lot of our stuff that we buy like once every couple of months. So things like peanut butter, almond butter, flax seeds, chia seeds, like just like the stuff that we use constantly that ran out. So I ended up buying that Costco haul and that definitely put us over. I also did like, we ran out of toilet paper. Like there was just like a bunch of like big ticket items that are expensive that we don't buy that often that ran out. So that is why my grocery bill is so high. I actually was sitting really good closer to like when I did my mid-month check-in. I didn't think I was gonna go over this budget, but that is why we're there. Transportation was also really high. I had a lot of Ubers come through at the end of the month. I went to my friend's 30th birthday in North Van and there was a lot of Ubering and paying for public transport for that. So that kind of pushed me over. I also got a parking ticket this month that I didn't anticipate. That was like 45 bucks around there. So that's kind of why I'm over my budget, even though I'm like pretty good about keeping to my transportation budget. So a little bit more spent here than I usually do, but what can you do? I am under budget for eating out, but I don't think this is the amount that I set up at the beginning of the month. I'm definitely over budget from what I thought I would spend, but 60 bucks is not bad by any means. That's actually very good. So I'm not mad about it. $33 spent on coffee. That's fine. That's like a normal number for me. Drinking and cannabis products, definitely over budget. So I was a little over budget during my mid-month check-in, and then at my friend's 30th birthday, we used my credit card as the tab for me and my boyfriend. So we ended up spending like 60 or 70 bucks on drinks throughout the night, and that is why I am heavy red in this category. Clothing-wise, I am at 120. I budgeted 200, and this was all used clothes. So that is great because that was one of my annual goals, was to spend more money on used items and less on brand new items, just for like sustainability purposes. I also love having a closet where, sure, I buy a lot of Aritzia and typical stuff that you will see all over the place on many people, but I love throwing in items that are thrifted and quite unique with that to make my overall closet feel a little bit more unique, a little bit more different, you know, has a little bit more character. That is in line with my goals, and I'm happy I'm under budget there. My beauty budget. So I was really thinking about this, and I have spent a lot of money on beauty this year. So I ended up having my microneedling session in the middle of the month, and I knew that that was coming up. So that it was around $300 the first time I did it. But because the girl let me buy a bundle of items, since I was getting 3 total microneedling sessions, she was like, we can give you the bundle, but you have to pay the remaining 2 in the bundle today. That ended up being like $500 and something. So like definitely closer to the $250 mark per actual treatment, which is cheaper than the $300 I paid originally. But of course I had to pay it up front, and I didn't really expect that. I'm not sure why I didn't expect that, because that makes total sense. But yeah, I just didn't budget for it. And so basically my budgeted number was $300 for the microneedling plus $150 for Sephora event stuff. And I went over on my Sephora event stuff as well. I think I'm closer to like the $180, $190 mark. So that is why my beauty category is so high. And I've also been really like thinking on this, that I've spent a lot on beauty this year. And it's definitely something that's in line with my goals. Like, I am happy to spend on beauty. It makes me feel good. And then I present better in the world when I feel better. I feel more confident. I am able to do things like be on YouTube, be on camera, and be confident in that decision. But of course, it is an expensive category. So I do want to spend a lot less in this category for next month. So the fun category, I spent 50, budgeted 40, all good there. Very happy with that. My cat was exactly as expected, about $135. Oh, I think I only budgeted 110 originally, but I had to bump it up because we ended up needing to buy him toothpaste as well. So that is what that is. He had his pretty litter and then $30 on toothpaste. Health, I actually didn't spend too much because I ended up putting an order at the end of the month. So I actually put in an order today, but I'm not going to count it towards this budget. I'm calling this budget like closed out right here, right now. But I needed all of my supplements basically refilled from my naturopath. So that was going to be like $200. And I knew if I put that order in and then put it on here today, I was going to be over budget. So I ended up just ordering that today, and it's going to be on my May budget. Yeah, we underspent in this category for April, but it's going to be really expensive for May. Gifts, I was a little over. I mentioned this in my last video. It was like a couple cards, not a huge deal. I spent $0 on home. I am waiting to buy some items for May. So May, I am gonna be doing the patio refresh officially. I'm gonna give myself like a budget of about $350 to do a patio refresh. And so I am just basically like postponing this amount of money until next month. Discretionary, $0. This is a category for things that make my life easier. It might be getting my nails done. It might be getting a cleaning service. It might be getting groceries delivered. Things that I wouldn't normally pay for, but things that I might need just to make my mental health better or make my life easier. So $0 spent this month. Travel, I ended up paying, it was like $286 for my flights, which was actually really great. I used my credit card points. I saved like $1,100 on my flights, which is amazing. And then I had the $100 e-transfer for a deposit for an Airbnb for my friend's 30th birthday that is coming up this summer. $0 donations. Oh my gosh, I didn't donate. Okay, I still will be under the $1,750 if I donate. So, wow, I can't believe that just like, I completely forgot about it. I will donate as soon as I'm done this video. I will likely do the Humane Society. I kind of alternate between them and then like Save the Children. So I will probably donate to the Humane Society about 40 bucks after this video. That's my bad. That's my bad. And so that grand total of $26.74 for expenses in April, which is considering I bought flights and the microneedling, stuff like that. I am not mad about that at all. I think it's totally fine. Alrighty, let me see if I have any notable purchases I wanted to discuss. I don't think so. Okay, let's go to May. So for May, I have a few big things I need to like remember when planning. At the beginning of May, I have my half marathon I am running, and I have some family that are visiting for that event. I have a wedding in May in Seattle, so I will be crossing the border. I will be spending lots of additional money, about 35% extra for the conversion, and I will be seeing lots of my good friends, and we will be having a very good time. So I do expect to spend some money at that wedding. If you are new here, I have a sinking fund for weddings so that I can fully enjoy these moments and be present and not be worried about money. I like to enjoy myself at these weddings. They're a lot of the times events where I see people that I rarely get to see. So I will be enjoying myself at that wedding. What else do I have? I have my car insurance is due at the end of May. That is about $1,200 that I need to keep my eyes on. I have, what else? I want to buy a bunch of clothing items. If you watch my last video, which is my clothing wish list item video, I will be purchasing a couple of items from that video. So I do want to buy some clothes. I invest heavily, I save heavily, and then the rest of my money is guilt-free, spend it on whatever the hell I want to. And that is definitely clothes. I like to spend money on clothes. What can I say? Okay, so yeah, that is basically what I'm expecting for, oh, May is also a 3 paycheck month. I thought it was going to be June this year, but it's actually May. So I have 3 paychecks in May. So there's a little bit extra money to play around with there. Obviously I invest and save per paycheck, so it's not like a free paycheck kind of thing, but there is definitely a little bit of extra money to play around with. So I think that will help me out with setting myself up for the summer, because the summer gets expensive. Let's kind of dive into the budget. So I am expecting obviously my regular pay for my paycheck 1 and 2, but I've added my extra paycheck here for paycheck 3. I also obviously every single month get a bonus amount of money for my mobile plan. I pay the family plan, and then I get e-transferred from my family members for the remainder. So that is a regular income source there. I'm not gonna budget Etsy stuff still as well, but obviously that is something that I do get paid for. I also am monetized officially on YouTube now, so that could be a new income stream. I have no idea how much money I'm gonna make from that. Obviously, I think you need to hit $100 made in a month to actually get paid out, so I don't think I will be paid for a little while, but that is an exciting new source of income. I've already kind of walked through the numbers of what I'm thinking I'm gonna be spending. So yeah, let's do that. So groceries, I said $450. I'm actually going to go $550, honest to God. When we go to the States, me and my friends have already decided we wanted to do like a Trader Joe's, Target run, get all the fun things in America that we don't have here. So I usually end up spending a little bit more on groceries, obviously, when I'm doing that. I also just spent 500 bucks in April, so this is actually not more money. It's literally just the exact same amount of money I've already spent. So yeah, I'm just gonna say 550 just to have fun. Transportation, I also will be driving down to Seattle, so that's like a little bit of extra gas than I'm usually used to. Weddings, obviously like Ubers and all that. Also, when my family visits, we might be spending more money on touring the city, things like that. So I said $250 for transportation. Eating out, I said $125. I think I usually spend like $50 a month on eating out, but I think the wedding and stuff, I think I should go like $175 just to be safe, just to like have an idea of realistically where I'm gonna be at. Coffee, I think we will do, let's actually go $50. I think just with like all of the events and stuff like that too, I'm gonna be buying coffee out more. Drinking and cannabis, obviously wedding. I don't remember if there was any information on if it's like an open bar or not. Even like I'm away for the full weekend, so there's gonna be more drinking involved. So $125 actually seems a little bit more reasonable. Clothes, I'm gonna try to stick under $400. Obviously, some of the items that I want are Aritzia, so that is like 3 items max. But I am gonna try to stay under $400, and we'll see how we will go. You may notice that there's already some items on here as well, so I will cover that in a little bit, but there are some items that I already paid for yesterday, today. There are a couple items where I was like, if I don't buy this now, it's not gonna come in time, and I'm not pushed back having my supplements just simply because I had to wait 3 days to like achieve a certain goal. To me, that's just kind of ridiculous. Like what am I doing? Just buy the supplements and then put it onto the next month's budget, like whatever. So that's what I'm doing there. Beauty, we're gonna try to stay pretty low. I just totaled up a couple items that I ran out of. So I ran out of my ketoconazole shampoo I use, that ran out. So that's like 20 something bucks. And then my eyebrow pencil just ran out as well. So I think $55 should be fine. I'm trying to just like really watch this budget category on the months that I don't have Botox. Like June is my next Botox month. So May is my low beauty spend month. Fun. $50 seems to be like my usual number, so we're gonna keep it there. My cat, I'm expecting to buy him food. He also needs kibble, which is like usually like an upfront expensive charge, so I think about $90 should be about right. Health, as I mentioned, I had all of my supplements that were like all out at the same time, so that's about $220 right there. I also want to put through an order for some more electrolytes for my half marathon training, and then also for some gels, like some liquid sugary gels to eat while running, so that is also part of that budgeted amount. Gifts, I obviously have a wedding gift that I need to pay for, and as you can see, I'm already over budget. So I bought a portion of the gift already. I bought that yesterday, and that was $70 something, but then I forgot that that is in USD. So it went through on my credit card and it was actually $100, but because the wedding gift is in USD, I don't want to give a Canadian $100 as a wedding gift. I want to give a USD $100 as the wedding gift. So I'm gonna be topping up my full amount, $100 USD, into the honeymoon fund. So I'm gonna be doing, it's gonna be like a $135 gift is basically the conversion. For home, I give myself a $350 budget for the patio. Let's actually just do $350 for the patio. I don't think I need anything additional beyond that. Discretionary, I'm gonna try not to spend on discretionary. I can't foresee anything, but one thing I've been considering is getting a cleaning service to do a deep clean. I just don't have time to do like the deep clean that I think like this house really needs. So I've been toying around with getting a cleaner to do a deep clean. Should I just budget for that? How much is a cleaner? Let me budget 75. Travel, I said 0 just because I think I'm gonna spend my money in the categories. For the whole Seattle wedding thing, I think I'm just gonna like charge it to eating out, charge it to groceries. So technically 0, but if we book something for our Europe trip in May, that's also fine. Not a huge deal. Oh, should I budget for, you know what? I actually am gonna budget for this here. $775. So there's a something coming up that I am planning for. It's kind of a secret. Dave, if you are watching this, please exit. Exit, stop watching, leave. Now we have no Davids around. My boyfriend's 30th birthday is coming up and I am planning some stuff ahead of time. So I did just pay for something and it was $775. I will be refunded for that amount of money, but because it's going on my credit cards and I liked this number up here to fully reflect the amount that's going on my credit cards, I will budget for it and put it into my budget as though I'm buying it up front. And then when I get paid for the stuff, I will, you know, count that as income, and then we'll pay everything off and everything will be good. I'm out of breath from talking. We're gonna do donations, $40 again. And so that puts my budget at $34.70. That is a lot. And that has me at a remaining amount of $779. What? Oh, right, because it's a 3 paycheck month. Retirement contributions will be, sorry, just because it's a 3 paycheck month, I have to make sure that my savings and investments account for 3 savings, 3 investments. Okay, yeah, so 1,500 is correct. Okay, so yeah, so apparently after everything is deducted off, I always forget about this, but because I spent on my credit card, my expenses for the month aren't actually due until the month afterward. I'm all good for May, but June is when I'm gonna have to cover the bills for this huge budget. I think considering that, let me just take off that travel for a second here, $26.95. Okay, so basically my budget for May is basically the exact same amount I spent this month. I think that that is okay. Obviously I could lower my clothes budget. Obviously I could lower my spending in a bunch of different categories, but May is kind of one of those months where I'm like, I just want to enjoy my money a little bit more. I'm not gonna be too fussed here and there. If I have to pull money from my sinking funds, that's okay. I have lots of money in there. I'm going to a wedding. I have money in a sinking fund for weddings. Literally every single dollar I spend in Seattle, I could definitely cover from that sinking fund. I'm totally fine with that. I'm actually, it's a high budget, but I'm not gonna freak out about it. It's totally good. Life happens. I want to enjoy life. I make good money. It's all good. So yeah, I think that kind of covers the May budget. I will quickly run through the items I've already purchased. So I bought my supplements, that was $220 from Fullscript. I bought my gift, so I bought it from The Knot, so it was some vases. They were $100 Canadian, obviously about 70 bucks USD. And then I will be putting $30 USD. Oh, that's also gonna be in USD. Okay, it's gonna be closer to 40 bucks Canadian for the honeymoon fund. And then I also bought a dress for the wedding. Well, not bought a dress, I'm actually renting a dress for the wedding. So there is a service in North Vancouver called The Collective, and they do dress rentals. And so I am renting a Reformation dress for the wedding, and that was $78.40. And I feel like that's a really cool feature. Instead of buying an expensive ass Reformation dress, I get to wear it, and then I just get to, you know, drop it off and wear it one time. And I think that's such a cool, sustainable option for big events like weddings, where I'm like, I'm probably not gonna wear that dress that many times over again. So I thought that was a cool feature. So those are the things that I've bought already for the May budget. That is the May budget all done there. I do wanna quickly mention, I think I am not gonna do a May mid-month check-in, and that is simply because I am trying to do a month where I just don't check in on my money that much. I want to see if spending naturally comes a little bit more, I budget every single month, and I'm always inputting my values, so I always know where I'm sitting at. And I'm just curious if I, you know, intuitively spend where I get myself to. I just kind of want to run a little experiment, a little test. Plus, I budget so much, so often that it's probably just good for my mental health just to have a little bit of a break. So I don't think I will do a mid-month check-in, and I'm gonna try to just not input things into my budget that often. I might just do a big dump closer to the end of the month just to see where I'm at. But yeah, I just want to try a month where I just spend intuitively. It's kind of like I used to track my macros really intensely and like always track everything I was eating. And then when you kind of move towards more intuitive eating, you have those habits in place from the budgeting, from the tracking, that when you eat intuitively, you're still kind of in line with where you want to be. I think I'm going to try that out for May just to see what happens. Like, who knows, maybe I spend less money than normally, because a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll check in and be like, oh, I can spend more in this category. And then I make an excuse to go spend more money because I have money available that I budgeted for. So I think this will just be a fun little check, a little test. So yeah, that is that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a fun time watching me budget for the month of May. Keep an eye out for my regular reset where I go over my favorites. I'm also gonna recap everything I bought in the month of April. So if you wanna see that, you should subscribe down below. And as I mentioned, the budget spreadsheet is linked below with the coupon code. Thank you so much again, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye. We need someone with who to chase your dreams forever.